Good morning, everybody, and you're really welcome to our fourth session of the Business and Finance Virtual Career Series. And we're absolutely delighted to be joined by PKF FPM Chartered Accountants Limited, a name that won't be unfamiliar to anybody here at DQIT. And we are joined by Ciara McFerrin, who is the People and Culture Manager, Catherine Musson, who's the HR Officer, and lastly but not least, Mark Doyle, who is a training Chartered Accountant at PKF FPM. PKF FPM are obviously a mid-sized company, but really supportive of sort of graduates and have excellent graduate routes depending on your preference. They are based across Newry, Belfast, Mollusk, Balbriggan and Dungannon. And just to show you the investment in their people and the culture of the organisation, they were voted the 63rd best company to work for in the UK not so long ago. So that is a hell of an achievement if you think of all the companies in the UK. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Ciara, who is going to bring you through the presentations. Don't forget to ask questions in the chat function. Guys, you're really welcome. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for having us here this morning. Obviously, you've introduced Catherine beside me. I'm Ciara, and Mark is also with us as well. So I'll take you through just a very brief introduction about the company, PKF FPM. We were founded in August 1991. We have 5 office locations, 1 in the south of Ireland and 4 throughout north of Ireland. We have approximately 130 staff and 10 directors. So as I said, we were founded in 91, so we've just celebrated our 30 years in business, and as we can see, all our little mugshots are on this lovely poster as we speak this morning. So this sort of represents all our staff. We've done a bit of a campaign on that just lately. So our big long name, PKF FPM, we were originally FPM Chartered Accountants, and we then joined a global international network, which is called PKF. And this gives us obviously a global reach throughout the world. And really what you can see there just from the slides this morning, it shows that we're one of 480 offices around the world. There's 222 firms, and this network was ranked 11th largest UK accountancy brand in the world. So it gives us obviously that wider reach for our staff really and for our clients. So I'll discuss later what opportunities that can bring joining the company. So we see ourselves as being different. We have great people. We see ourselves having a great brand, and we like to see that we're not just boring accountants. We like to have fun. We like to sort of put it out there and do things for the local community, share the corporate social responsibility throughout the organisation too. And we see ourselves looking different, acting different and talking different. And these little snapshots here are just very few sort of examples of what we get up to outside of the bookwork. And again here we'd have Halloween fancy dresses, our challenge day, and this is just our celebratory pictures that we had a few office parties sort of throughout the 5 branches and celebrated our 30 years in business. So this is our ethos, our PKF FPM ethos. Really we see ourselves as caring business advisors. So our mantra really is that we don't care how much you know until you know how much you care. So this is embedded sort of within the organisation, and we believe that you ask and don't tell, and listen and don't talk. So, we don't see anyone. There's not an I in our firm. It's very much a we. We tend to see that everyone is part of the team, and basically when you join, or if you join, this is the ethos that you'll be buying into. So our core values, this is very much embedded throughout the organisation. When we take staff on board, we do believe that we invest in the best staff. And really what happens behind the scenes is that, when we do our interviews, we actually do sort of break down different criteria and sort of see, do you fit to the DNA of the person we want to join our team? So we are passionate. We believe in caring for our clients, our colleagues and our community. As I said, we invest in the best. There's a culture of ethical business and trust. We listen, understand and solve to make it happen. We push out boundaries and create opportunities. And most importantly, we sort of as we said before, our ethos is focused on positivity and enthusiasm and having fun. So staff benefits, this sort of gives a brief snapshot as to what is involved and what extra, I suppose, behind being a staff member in FPM can give you. So we obviously, with COVID, obviously it forced everyone to have that virtual working world. We now offer flexible working arrangements, and we have a hybrid framework model in place at the moment, offered to all our staff. We obviously focus a lot on staff health and well-being. We organise yoga, desktop or desk space yoga. We offer staff sort of time away from their desks, sort of all focused on mental health and, you know, giving them time to sort of have that good mindset. We have corporate membership for a fitness program online. We have a 24-hour medical helpline for staff. Again, there's challenges and fitness challenges, step challenges. There's lots of different things that happen weekly within the office in terms of people doing a step challenge, a work week hustle is what it's called. The people sort of compete against one another, and that's reported every fortnight on our staff briefing as to who is the most competitive, I suppose, in the office. We also say we have social media and thought leadership articles that staff are always asked to contribute to that. You know, so we always see that every staff member should participate in that, regardless of what level they're at. If they have something to add, we encourage that with all the staff. We organise Christmas and Easter hampers. We give staff the opportunity to offer opportunities for improvement. And this is generally, or can be sort of given through our How's It Going survey. It's a survey that goes to our staff every week to see how they are basically getting on. Are they happy at work? Are they not? Can they suggest opportunities for improvement? We celebrate staff successes, birthdays and milestones, and obviously just lately was our big 30th anniversary. So I suppose for the students here this morning, they'll probably want to know what's happening in terms of our 2022 vacancies. So we are recruiting for trainee chartered accountants and placement students. And basically we sort of say that if you fit this DNA pattern, we would like to have you on board. If you're passionate, you have ambition, you're energetic and you're enthusiastic, if you're resilient and you feel that you can add value, if you're creative, innovative, and basically if you have tolerance and humility, we think that basically is what it takes to be a staff member at PKF FPM. So really the process in terms of applying, there are entry requirements, which really are, I suppose, in every job, the vacancy in an organisation. We do ask that candidates sort of achieve or are working towards a minimum grade of a 2-1 in a relevant degree, and are able to communicate clearly, can organise, plan and prioritise their workload, are able to work on their own initiative as well as being part of a team, and really are motivated, ambitious, driven and enthusiastic. So the process for the vacancies that we have for placement and trainee chartered accountants is the trainee chartered accountants, we've said to complete an application form. We will even accept CVs as well, and that can be submitted directly to the email here that we've stated, recruitment@pkffpm. And placement students, again, submit a CV to the same email address. We then do first and second interviews for all of the positions. We don't, well, suppose maybe we don't, when we say we don't do any testing or a lot of these other extra testings that a lot of organisations do in terms of the interview process. We keep it very simple. We like to sort of keep it informal and get to know more about the applicant. So I can answer, and Catherine as well, and any questions in terms of the process, but beforehand would like to maybe hand you over to Mark. Mark is currently a Chartered Accountants Ireland trainee with us, and he's just going to briefly chat on his journey so far in the FPM.
Thanks, Ciara. So, and thank you very much for joining the call, everybody. Yeah, so I'm at the start of my journey. I'm only a couple of years ahead of yourselves there. I was in your shoes once as well. And a bit about me, I studied an undergraduate degree in Queen's. I studied economics and accounting, which is a similar degree to, I'm sure, what everyone on the call is studying. Before that, whenever I was at school, I always had an intention that I wanted to go down the business route, do something that involved business. I wasn't necessarily certain that was accountancy, but ultimately, when it came to the crunch, I decided that I would go down the chartered accountant route. And I suppose that was for a number of reasons. The main reason being that whenever you, in your training to be a chartered accountant, you accumulate so many skills, both technical skills and how to run the job, and also in terms of your soft skills and how you work on people and relationships and the whole element of how a workplace runs. So that was one of the main reasons why I decided to study accountancy, number one, at university, and then ultimately bring that forward to a professional level. I started my training with the firm in July, and I've commenced my training contract, and that's how, if anyone who's maybe not aware, Chartered Accountants Ireland run their training contracts on either 3 years if you have a relevant postgraduate degree, or 3.5 years if you're coming with a relevant accounting or business degree. As I understand it, most of you on the call have or will be working towards the 9 ACCA exemptions. So then, after I graduated from Queen's, I decided that I would do a postgrad, and I would do a postgrad in accounting at the University of Ulster Georgetown, and that would allow me then to move into my training with as many technical skills built up as I could. The reason for that, and the reason why I decided to go down that route, was primarily because I did have visibility to what working on the job would require and the skills that would be required in that. And I was lucky that I did 3 summer internships with the firm. I did the first one at the end of my first year, and then I did them in each of the intervening years. And that really gave me a great sort of visibility to how the firm works, how FPM do business, how we do business with clients, how they train trainees, and all of those things added up. That it made it actually really a very easy decision for me to apply to PKF FPM. So I then, after my third summer internship, which was last year, I went to Ulster University and did my postgrad, and that gave me some more exemptions that allowed me to carry forward to this year. So now that's sort of a quick history of what has brought me to this point. As I say, now I've commenced my training, and I'll have no exams now next year. Some who start having graduated from accountancy or from a relevant business degree would have either Cap 2s to do or Cap 1s, but I would have a year without any exams now, and then I will do my finals in the following year. So that's really a pathway of what I've got up to this point. And then in terms of a day-to-day job, my main function is in the audit and accounting department. Our offices are generally split along 2 lines, audit and accounting and tax, and those are both options to come in as a trainee. I decided to go down the audit and accounting route. And day to day, my job really entails preparing sets of accounts, working on audits, and being involved in the planning of audits, working through the testing of audits, and also I have my own accounting jobs working away as well. So that's really in the main what my job entails. I'm sure you'll have some questions arising out of that, and I'd welcome any questions. I'm not sure if Ciara wants to come back in or Anthony, but I'd welcome any questions that any of you may have.
Okay, no, thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate that. No, that really closes our presentation today. Obviously, for anyone that wants to visit our social media platforms, there are our handles for those. So yes, if anyone wants to hear any question or ask any questions, we 3 of us here are happy to answer anything that's come in. So over to you, Anthony.
Brilliant, Ciara. I have a number of questions. First, just to thank you again. Really nice succinct presentation. I think students hopefully were screenshotting some of those slides in relation to the values that you look for in people. So the first question then is around the application process itself. I know you said earlier on, Kira, that you're going to be uploading to Careers Connect, so students will be able to get the application there. Well, is there a closing date, or is it rolling recruitment?
I'll pass over to Catherine for this.
Yes, so our closing date is the 12th of November.
Okay.
And our application will go live this afternoon. So we encourage as soon as possible. Usually we get quite a vast number of applications through, so the sooner the better. Get your application forms through by the 12th of November.
Perfect. And on the application form, are there competency-based questions, or is it a straightforward type of application which you'll sort of screen then?
There are competency-based questions. So we ask for a general overview of your results so far. There's a few questions around your interests, corporate social responsibility, and a few competency questions initially as well.
You're not giving us any clues. That's fine.
No.
The other one then is on leaving cert points. So do you shortlist based on leaving cert points or A levels? Is there a cutoff or not?
Our shortlisting process, I know we're a wee bit different to other firms. We don't solely focus on results.
Okay.
And we like to see the wider picture of candidates coming through, who that show experience in other areas, who they can show that they've given back to the community. It's not solely on results. Yes, it's obviously very important, and we have to shortlist some way, so they are taken into consideration, yes.
Perfect. The next question then is around ACA, ACCA. Are there different routes available? Can you facilitate that within the organisation?
Yes, absolutely. So we do have trainees at the minute who are studying for ACCA and ACA. Majority, to be honest, if you do go through the Chartered Accountants route, we find it maybe just a wee bit more structured for trainees coming through, but ACCA definitely is an option as well.
Perfect. Mark, one for you. What if you had one piece of advice for yourself as a final year student in university or in your postgrad, approaching applications and applying to companies, what would it be?
Well, my advice would be to get in early. Put yourself out there. Don't wait and let the crowd. And I know it's very easy to do where you're playing and you want to go for that. Go yourself, commit, and apply early was what I would say. And even if, and I would advise this on not just FPM, on any job that you try and apply for, put yourself out there, throw a CV in. I mean, all they can do is reject it. There's nothing else more can happen out of that. The one thing I also would say is don't get overly concerned with application processes to the detriment of your studies.
Okay.
Because ultimately, in the end, your studies will be what takes you through. Your studies and your qualifications will get you into the room for the interview, and then once you're in the room, then worry about that when you're there. I would say focus on your studies, and also another thing I would say is enjoy it. Enjoy your university. Enjoy your university experience. I know for yourselves, my last year my postgrad was also online. My final year in Queen's also was March 2020 when COVID hit. I would say hopefully if things are coming back to campus, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your university career as much as you can.
Very good. Another one for you. How challenging is it to manage your study as well as your work? So, I mean, is it like genuinely is it difficult? I know the supports are there within the organisation, but I think it's a question students always have. They're after completing a 3 or 4 year degree or maybe a postgrad, and then they're into another 3.5 year training contract with more study and work. So, how manageable is it?
This is a question that whenever if anyone asks me, I'm a trainee accountant, everyone says, "Oh, it's tough," and there's no doubt about it. It is tough. But what I would say is, and this is going to sound like a cliche, but it's not. At its core, we're a learning organisation, and the job of a training firm is to help train trainees, and that's something that we do very well. The way I try and look at it is, my job, yes, is about getting work done, but it's also about me learning as well. Now, how to manage that is a different, probably a slightly different conversation. I decided to go down the route of doing my postgrad in Ulster University, which gave me Cap 2 exemptions. So my degree gave me Cap 1 exemptions. This is for Chartered Accountants Ireland, by the way. I know there is SECA available as well, but I'd say doing the Chartered Accountants Ireland route. So my degree gave me Cap 1 exemptions. And judging by the people on the call, I would say a lot of the people, I'm not saying definitely, but a lot of them probably would have Cap 1 exemptions.
Mm-hmm.
Your degree will give you that. Then your postgrad, if you decided to do a postgrad, would give you Cap 2 exemptions, and then that would leave you with your finance route. That's the route I decided to go, probably to avoid working and studying for as long as possible, because working and studying is difficult but doable. I know there's FPM have a great mix of people in terms of who have done the postgrad or who have come in at Cap 1 level. So I would say it is definitely doable. Manage your time, be ruthless with your time. Also, if there's time that you have to study, block it off to study. And if you need to, turn off the notifications on your email phone at night, you do that. Don't be afraid to do that. I would say managing time is the key thing.
Perfect. Thanks. So Catherine and Ciara, maybe question for both of you following on from that, it's just popped into my head. What sort of study allowance is typical then, I suppose, on a trainee contract?
So Chartered Accountants Ireland actually do a recommended study allowance guide, and we adhere to that. If it varies, I think it changed maybe a couple of years ago. We go with that. I think Cap 1 off the top of my head is 4 weeks, inclusive of exam dates. Cap 2's 6 weeks, and FE's maybe 8 weeks. And as well as that, we offer time off in lieu. So we allow students to work up extra hours through the weeks, and then they can take that off as additional study leave on top of that. Perfect. And similar to ACCA, they have recommended guides that we follow as well.
Okay. Interesting one here. And maybe it's maybe for Ciara again, or Catherine. It's around that whole idea of specialising in an area. So Mark discussed his specialism. Like he went in, I think he said tax and advisory. Mark, was it? Audit. Sorry. So the other one. So you know what my question is about. Then, do they have to choose a stream per se on entering, or is there a sort of period of time where they can sort of dip their toe into different areas and then specialise, or do you expect them to know that before you come to them?
Not really, to be honest. It's probably more once they get their foot in the door, they start to gain exposure to different areas. I know Mark over time might gain a wee bit more consultancy experience. He may go downstairs. He does work in tax as well. So sometimes, you do get that cross experience. But before trainees come in, unless they have a special interest in a specific area, then it would be unlikely that they would come in knowing. It would be only until they're through the door, and maybe 6 months down the line, they say, maybe it would be good to get a wee bit more experience in tax, consultancy, insolvency. Okay. And that would be a discussion had at that stage then.
Perfect. So they do. You do spend time in different areas, obviously, which is really important and probably really attractive to students as well. I'd say. I think this is probably one from an academic, but I'm going to say it anyway. What makes an outstanding application?
Obviously, leaving cert points are important. We do have to focus on the academics. A CV that shows someone who is solely interested in working in the company that they're applying to. I would encourage people when doing a cover letter or their CV to make sure it's specific to the company they're applying to and not a general. We don't want someone applying for a marketing post and firing over their CV in for an accountancy role. So make it specific, make sure it's true to yourself, be honest. What are your interests? Maybe cycling, running, reading, chess, whatever it is. Just make sure that it's honest and true to yourself.
Yeah. So get your personality out in those 3 pages, as I say. And of course, the Careers and Employability Centre are here to support you in any of your applications, especially for PKF, FPM, obviously. So we're only too glad to do that and work with the students. Yeah, I think that's the end of the questions, guys. Unless you have anything else to add, just on our behalf, from DKIT's Careers and Employability Centre's perspective, it's been fantastic as ever. I know we were all a bit rushed there, and we're all on top of our heads, and we're all getting back to the world of work after being not off, but COVID laden, as it were. So we really do appreciate you taking the time to speak to us this morning. As Catherine said, the application form will be up online hopefully today, but keep checking back Careers Connect because all the information will be there. And yeah, get your applications in. And if they have any other questions that potentially they don't want to put over the airwaves, Kira, what is could we give? Is there probably just an info at they could email, or
You can email myself or
Yeah.
Catherine directly, Anthony, if they wish.
Brilliant.
My email is just c.mcferrin, so c. and my surname at pkffpm.com. Catherine's the same. It's k.musson, M-U-S-S-E-N, at pkffpm.com. We'd be happy to take, any email, and we'll answer it as best we can.
Perfect. I'm just gonna pop that up into the chat now. So there we go. I put Catherine's will be up on Careers Connect as well, so don't worry. Anybody who has a question, we'll be able to guide them towards it. So that's it. Listen, thanks so much again. Absolutely brilliant presentation as ever. Mark's first time, so virtual round of applause for Mark and doing such an excellent job and giving us a really, really good insight into a graduate sort of journey at an early stage, and that'll be really invaluable to the students, Mark. So a massive thank you again, and to Ciara and Catherine, of course, massive thank you as ever for attending our virtual career series, and we look forward to seeing lots of students in with their application forms over the next couple of days.
Great, thank you very much indeed.
Take care.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.